Everything Film is supported by Lisa Borsato, Remax Platinum Club winner. If you're in the market, experience is key. Lisa Borsato and All Points Realty Group on Austin Avenue in Coquitlam has the team to meet all your residential needs. Visit lisaborsato.com. Joe Larry and Patrick Shelton from the Shark Club in downtown Vancouver, Season 2, Episode...
Come on.
Eight?
Hey, you got it.
Season 2,
You say
Episode
that like you
8.
can't believe it every time. Like
No.
that. We're just still going, but, we're still here. We're going for it.
Well, we're the little show that could. We
I
just
know,
continually
I know.
grow and expand the base, expand the roster of people involved in the program. It is called Everything Film, presented by Agencyclick. Our guest is Wes Mack. I've known Wes, trying to figure out the time frame of when I first met you. But singer, actor, and can you serve two masters? Can you equally divide your time between two relatively, well, I guess there's similarities, but at the end of the day, you're singing and one you're talking.
Totally. And I think you can. I would have told you when I met you like 10 years ago or something,
Yeah.
I would have said, oh, yeah, I can balance all that.
Yeah.
You can't. I don't know. There's always stuff you miss when you're doing one on the other. But it's like, I guess that's kind of life, right? Where you can do anything, but you can't do everything, right? I'm learning that, apparently.
What do you want? Do you want a killer hit song, or do you want to be in a killer show?
I want to be in a killer show and then write the soundtrack. That's the cheat code, right?
Yeah.
You try to find a way around it.
And then learn to dance.
And then learn
Yeah.
to dance.
Oh,
Because, you haven't hit that one
I
yet. You
could
got to
tell
be
you-
the triple threat. The
I
triple
was-
threat is what you got to be.
I was
right?
auditioning for Grease a little ways back. I was the number one pick for this role for a while, and I had to do I didn't. Spoiler alert! I didn't get it in the end because I had to do this dance component for it.
Yeah.
Everybody I know is. Do you know Sean Hook by any chance?
I do know Sean Hook.
Yeah, so me and him, we're both reading for it. We were texting back and forth. Saying, can you dance? No, can you dance? All right, so we're sending each other our tapes of it, and I ended up doing mine out in a field because I didn't have a dance studio that I had access to. So it's middle of COVID. And so there is a video of me that exists trying to do a really fast dance number in a field that's very wet. And at one point, there's a great take where I do this spin and just fall, and my face hits the ground. I'm like, I should just send that to them.
I'm hearing lots
lots
about this Grease show. It's been... it hasn't come out yet, right?
No, it hasn't.
I'm hearing so much about it from everybody talking about this show, Grease, and then Vancouver's. I guess it's going to be the big thing.
Yeah,
I just
Paramount
envisioned
Plus doing
Grease.
that up.
I just envisioned Grease lightning.
Oh, totally.
Every episode is Grease lightning.
I went back and watched it, and there are some crazy numbers in that show. And you watch the dance scene, and they're just pulling there's stuff that would not happen.
Yeah, that's what I was
that in my memory of it, it was this pretty G-rated, chill film. You go back and watch it, you're like, oh man, this is crazy.
You know what you do extremely well? I was watching your demo reel. Your act of terror is extremely good. Where does that come from when you're literally crying for your life? How do you find that within you?
Well, if it's the Liam Neeson scene, you just look at him. It's funny. That guy shifts gears from. He really is I really like him as a dude between scenes. He was really kind, really soft-spoken, knows the name of everybody on set, doesn't have a Liam Neeson chair. He just comes and hangs out with you and talks about things. But then, you flip gears in action, he puts on the Taken voice, and he pins you against a wall. And the dude's he's got to be 6'2" or 6'3". I heard he was a boxer at one point, and he's very strong. So a lot of that's just I'm a ragdoll of that, man. That guy's tossing me around. He's Qui-Gon Jinn.
But you were literally being terrorized, and I'm just, again, that is hard to do unless you're really in the moment and feeling the absolute terror. I don't think Liam was going to do you damage.
Oh, it was between every cut, he would lean in and go, was that all right for you, Wesley? And his lilty Irish accent, and I go, yeah, Liam, that was okay. I don't know, man. It's one of the many buttons you press in the gig, and there's something he said actually before we shot that. It was kind of, I didn't get it as much at the time, and I feel a few years later in life I start to. We were doing rehearsals for it with the director, and he said at one point, midway through, he's like, I think we got to wait and just see what the space will do to us. And it was this really deep pontificating kind of thing he said. And at the time I was like, I kind of follow this. But then in the actual instance of it, we were shooting on the side of a mountain during this huge snowstorm. And there was enough going on that it was pretty easy to suspend your disbelief. Honestly, that's one of my favorite things about being an actor is when you're in there and you get all the departments working together and you have these interesting sets and props and costumes and stuff. You get the imagination becomes a lot easier than in an audition. Or
Do you think somebody like Liam is typecast because and I mean I don't want to say because I love the guy. I'll watch the Taken movie over and over and over, and that plot
was great.
But it's kind of like you go, oh, he's on an airplane now, and it's the same guy, and it's awesome. Right? I mean, but it's a good thing.
Surely he knows that to an extent where it's like, I mean, because he's this guy who's got this illustrious career doing all kinds of different things. But he's become very good at that. So I'm sure Hollywood kind of sees him as like, all right, we need a guy who's lost something, and he's going to get it back, and he's going to mess people up to get there.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's good at it though. He balances. The thing he does well, I think. Many things, but he balances that like rage with real pain underneath it. So you buy it that you're like, oh, this is a guy who's actually unhinged right now.
Have you seen him in the Ricky Gervais series Extras?
No. Oh, maybe I have. I think I might have.
It's a must-see.
Trust okay, if I haven't, I got to check that out.
I was going to ask you, when you're dealing with somebody of that kind of magnitude, is there a little bit of a temptation to be a fanboy, or do you try your damnedest not to?
You try your damnedest not to. I mean, you don't tell him that I've got like a Pepsi can with his face on it.
Probably not.
You don't open with that. Yeah. But, he made that so easy because he came in, and not every actor that you meet on the shows knows who everyone is. He came in on day one. I'm playing, I'm in a couple of scenes in that movie. He came in and he goes, Wesley, like, nice to meet you. I hear we're shooting near your hometown. Like,
you wanted to do it with a bit of an Irish.
He goes, Wesley, I see we're shooting near your hometown. It's not as guilty as I'm doing a terrible job of. But he made that easy though. He doesn't operate up there from the place of walking in and asking people to kiss the ring. He would show up every night. One of the gals giving out per diems would give out cookies with them at the hotel, and he would come down at midnight and sit with a bunch of the crew and have a cookie. It was really cool. Yeah,
well, as an actor though, you go through that, and every actor says their adrenaline goes at some point.
Oh yeah.
So you must look, and it's like, so you're not going to screw up. Right? You probably actually did one of your better performances because you're in that situation with somebody.
Yeah.
Like, you would probably go to the next level, right?
Well, and he raises it. That was the beauty of it. To kind of come full circle when you say, where's that terror come from? He is terrifying in it. Like, so he's giving you that. So I found, it is kind of, you get that rush of adrenaline. And I get a rush of adrenaline before we roll on this. I'm not, like, that's the kind of human I am. I'm not someone who's super chill about things. But on that, you look across and you go, okay, cool, I've seen this guy in 8 million films, but you also, all of a sudden you flip gears and you realize why he's there, because he's a really good actor, and then your job is to not think about anything other than, like, him. Right, and be there. So you're right. I think it elevates with the best guys.
Well, speaking of flipping gears, Wes Mack, let's flip gears and talk country music.
Oh, nice transition.
How did you grow up in a house where it was blaring on the radio, or how did you get immersed in country?
I grew up in Calgary, so you're handed a denim jacket when you're born. They swath you one, they swaddle you up, and they put your boots on you. And so when I was like a teenager, I didn't like country music because I played in a punk rock band and we wanted to be rebellious. And I remember I was in a trio. It was Newman, who you've met, and a guy named Chris. And he suggested, one summer, he's like, we could play at the Calgary Stampede and do country songs and we'd make a bunch of money. And me and Newman said, we'll quit the band before we play country music. And then it was flash forward, literally it was like 10 years after that, we were doing the Shania Twain tour and Newman was with me on it. And I leaned over to him before one of the shows one night. I'm like, and I retold him that story. I'm like, I guess Chris was right. Like, we're playing country. It changed for me in a couple ways. It changed when I was in first year university. There was a guy on my floor, strangely, who was from Boston, who was just a big like Willie Nelson fan, who was always playing it. And that was kind of my re-entrance point, where I was just like going and hanging out with him and listening to country. And I realized the longer I was away from Calgary, the more I was like, I actually missed a bunch of components of that when you're not like totally immersed in it. And then country kind of changed. It like opened up a lot because there's still, like any genre, rock, pop, anything, there's stuff I don't like and there's stuff I do like, same as country. But there's now like a pretty wide collection of things in country that I love, and that's why I'm there.
What I want to know, because it's we've got you, and I mean, excuse me if I'm rude and tell me you don't, but where's the money in here? Like, you've got, and I mean that, like, because you got music, you got royalties, you've got movies, you got that. Like, where do you feel like you would lean for the bigger paychecks? I'm not saying
it's
an artist.
Okay, I'll pull up my financials here.
No, but I'm just saying, when people are doing things, and a lot of our audience are people starting out, it's good for them to go like, okay, is this a career? Like, is country music more of a passion, and you're going to be waiting, or is it better?
So it's really weird, and I've tried to break it down. Like, it's not where you expect it to be. Some of the royalties, like things I always blow people's mind, are like the royalty for a spin on Spotify versus on Apple Music versus on a terrestrial radio station versus Sirius XM, they're all very different.
Right.
And so a lot of times it's not where you expect it to be. Acting is, until you're Liam Neeson or something in there, you might not be having massive amounts of money thrown at you. Sometimes...
Yeah.
Here's what I'd say. So I'm a director as well. I do a fair bit of writing, too. I do a fair bit of producing. I find most people who are in the business for a while, you end up with your hand in a lot of pots. And I'm able to, put together a life and a career where I just do art things. I don't know if I'm fully answering this, but it's that,
royalties is probably good.
I would say royalties is probably your answer. Royalties is probably
You know that
answer.
story that I tell about Burton Cummings, right? You know that one?
I'm sure you're going to tell me. I think that's a nice lead-in.
Well, Burton Cummings said the best day of his life is when Lenny Kravitz picked up American Woman.
That's
and that was an interview. He said, he was just so happy. He goes, so Lenny Kravitz is doing my song.
Yeah.
Yay!
It totally is. So I do a fair bit of writing for other artists, too.
Yeah.
Those feel great because I get to turn over. I had a song last year that was a top 10 hit on the radio that, I wrote, but I didn't have to do anything else with. I showed up for 4 hours. I wrote the song.
Beautiful.
But I often wonder, because that's really where you need to lay your ego aside. Because, for example, if you write a great song, I think we all, when you've written a good song.
Yeah,
okay?
we knew on the day of that
but
one.
maybe you're not the guy that's going to take that song the
100%.
distance, but maybe this person would. I mean, how do you know, or how do you have that ability to say, this is great, but it's not for Wes Mack?
I think for me, a lot of times if it's a strong one you write in the room and there's another artist on the song, the thing that feels nice is you're like, oh, cool, this good song is going to have a home one way or another. It's either going to be with me and I'm going to give it as big of an opportunity as I can, or if it's with someone who's bigger.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like that where I'm like, oh, cool, I take the ball, run with it.
Well,
I'll show up for the victory lap, right?
I look at someone like Diane Warren, who's written scores of top 10 records, made gazillions of dollars, and no one knows she can walk down the street unattended.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I there's stuff I love about that too because
it's age too. It's age too. You know that Neil Diamond said that about the song he wrote for the Monkees. He said he was too old to sing it, and I'm going he was too old back then. I'm going. So he wanted a young band to sing it at 18, 19 years old.
And sometimes it's also
which makes sense, kind of, right?
But it's sometimes even just voice of and I don't mean physical voice. I mean sometimes I want to write a song that's just not the tone of of me, but I can hear the song. I've got one of those right now that's in the hopper with a guy who's signed to Warner that I'm like, cool, fingers crossed. I don't know that I would be able to knock this out of the park, but I think he does. So I really enjoy that. It's I love getting to hop around between these things because you just get different aspects of the creative world.
I've talked to scores of artists over the years, and the one commonality when I ask them if you had to, what's the best thing you think you've done, and they always go, the one I'm working on right now. Okay? But I mean, and you said you have an album in the can,
in the hopper,
yeah.
It's on deck in the wings.
Tell us about it.
And can I ask you a question that's personal? Do you get younger all the time? Because I'm hearing experience here, and you're kind of telling me stuff that you had because you look younger to me than probably what you are. Do you get that?
Yeah, I do get that. I still occasionally, if I'm clean shaven, I'll still get asked to read for a teenager, and it gets funnier and funnier and funnier. When I was in Power Rangers, it was on my 29th birthday or something. As I shot it, I was bullying kids in high school. I'm like, this is a long time ago for me. But
yeah.
I thought it was. I think maybe it's Hannah Montana or something. Somebody was telling me that the brother on that show was 35 when they shot it or something.
Yeah.
So I guess hats off to my parents.
There's no curse looking young. I mean, it can maybe hinder you in the acting profession.
Well, but
I think it helps,
I feel like
really.
it ultimately why I'm okay with it is at some point I'm going to look older. I'll run through the gamut of it and I'll get to play at whatever age I get to play. It's also I can grow a pretty good beard when I want one, so that flips it around.
So what about the new album?
Yeah, I mean this was an odd one because it was all created during COVID kind of thing. It started construction basically as the world shut down. But I mean, I love it. This was a record I got to make with people who I probably wouldn't have made it with otherwise because it didn't require me to be anywhere because no one could be anywhere. Everyone got very, very, I went from hating the idea of doing Zoom rights and distance production to that was the name of the game. I was out at my cabin for a lot of it. I would do rights. I would track my parts. I'd work with people in Nashville, in Toronto, in LA kind of thing and put it all together. And in the end, it was neat because I was like, oh, cool, this record, there's people that I worked with on it that I probably wouldn't have gotten to work with if everyone's lives were, doing whatever they were doing normally. So I got to make this cool eclectic record that like I get to have a huge hand on the production, but then there were huge chunks of it that I have no hand on the production. I don't know. It was. I love it. It's neat. It's
Wes,
like quite cool.
in the years that I've known you, you've referenced the cabin a number of times. How rustic, how back to earth do you get in your? Do you have livestock?
I wish. Well, there's a lot of animals there. Like there's never a day where you don't have like deer or rabbits or just like birds and stuff in the yard.
But you're not slopping hogs and milking?
No, I'm not slopping hogs. Okay. Although I was moving a lot of dirt the last time I was there.
Right.
I had to rejig the like front lawn got all dug up at one point, so I was getting pickup truck loads of dirt and bringing it there. It was very country music of me, you know. It's just
is that where you write generally?
I actually no. I find when I'm out there, it's almost a break from it. Like I'll do more studio stuff out there, but like I almost write more when I'm in chaos. When my life is like being, I'd like, it seems like a place you go, oh yeah, I go out to the cabin, I sit there by the lake. I don't find that actually usually generates much for me. I find life's curveballs makes you want to write. Yeah. I find out there I kind of do the opposite. I play my guitar a lot more out there, but I play. I do the. I think you fill the tank up there kind of thing. Yeah. For me is
well with chaos and everything. That's why I always thought, Joe, you should be a songwriter.
Out of chaos comes control. Wes Mack Music on Twitter and Instagram. Wes, always a pleasure to see you. Let's not make it so long next time. Okay?
Yeah, very much so.
Cheers.
Thank you, sir.